Hello, welcome to your Freedom of Flow single and double staff Freedom of Flow recap for week 4, our final week. Thank you for taking this journey. So recapping the things we focused on this week, we focused on our 5th beat in front and behind. We started working with plane changes. We worked with anti-spin and we worked with tosses. Tosses out the front, tosses out the back, and we even started working with tosses from the horizontal plane. Okay, so I think we started with extra beats. So our extra beats come from a few specific points. So whether we'll do our extra beat beginning from our backwards 2 beat, and we find our locking point here behind our back, lock, bend, turn, release. Again, lock, bend our elbows still pointing out that same direction where we found the lock, turn and release. Lock, bend, turn, release. Once we've started to find that, then we can start to flow through, but it's really important that we find a lock, a bend before we turn, and if we don't, we end up in some really weird shapes. It's actually hard for me to do, but you'll end up in some really weird shapes. Could even hurt your shoulder, especially if you're going hard and fast. Okay, so that is our backwards 5th beat, or our final extra beat behind the back, turn and release. Okay, it's very similar for in front, except this time it's from our forwards 2 beat, and we will come in front, find that lock. Once we've found that lock, on that same plane we find a bend, so we're still pointing out this direction, turn all the way and release. Again, find your lock, bend, elbow is pointing out in the same direction, turn and release. Again, bend, turn and release. If you start to find this comfortable, remember again, hit our lock, bend before we turn and release. If this starts to be comfortable, which it should pretty easily, we can then start to put them together. So we can put our 5th beat behind, beat, turn, release, turn our body, end up in our forwards and release. Just starting to pivot between the two. We can even start to bring that in on the opposite side. Just doing our 5th beat, turn, 5th beat, turn, turn, and the exact same from our 5th beat in front. Turn, turn, lock, bend, turn, release. Lock, bend, turn, release. We can do this from any one of our changes. Change and turn, change and turn. Okay, that is our 5th beat in front and behind. Then we worked with plane changes. Actually, I think we went to anti-spin. Okay, anti-spin, start position. Remember, in our quarters, this is the one you probably have the most difficulty with, but it's just about breaking it down into your 4 quarters. And it's a push-pull. Remember, this head that's here in front of us is just going to stay on this side-to-side plane, and as you can see, this head behind is just staying on an up and down plane. This is how you can really know if you've got it right, is just checking your planes. Okay, so that was a little just eye on what you're going to keep your eye on, and the way to really do it, whether we're going left or right, is to push head out, staff comes behind, pull up, staff goes up, staff comes across, push out, pull down, push behind, pull up, push out, pull down. So we'll go back in our quarters, push, pull up. This is the part you'll have the most difficulty with, is this rotate where you push out and pull down. If that's hard, really just come back and just get used to rotating that staff behind. Why it's called anti-spin is because one head is spinning one way whilst your arm is spinning the other. So it's actually spinning against the direction of your arm. Just getting used to, this is the one you'll have the most difficulty with, and if you do, just focus on this top half, just getting used to pushing and pulling. Once we start to find, we know where our quarters are and we start to get used to this rotation down, then we can start to push, pull all the way around without stopping. And once this is easy enough, back the other way. Once this is easy enough, we can start to bring in a turn. Remember, always one arm, other arm. Once this is good, you can even start to anti-spin out in front and anti-spin out behind. But it is very important first that you find an anti-spin on this plane before we start trying to mix it up with opposite pushes, or with pushes in other directions. So again, quarters, get used to this part pushing down behind your arm. These parts are all pretty simple. It's about really getting used to this pull up and this push down. Any difficulties, send me a video of where you're at. I can always send updates. Okay, next thing we really worked on was changing planes. So a changing of plane happens from any one of these quarters. You can change a plane from here. Actually, the easiest place is to change planes. So what I mean by change planes, I know we've been through this, but I'll go again, is we're changing planes from a vertical spinning up and down, like this is vertical, like we're in a hallway. And we're going to change planes into a horizontal spinning. Then we can change back. So the easiest place is either from our, from when we hit, either from our start point here, or I prefer from our side here. So anything that again is on a horizontal. If it starts to become vertical, changing planes is still possible, but it's a bit more difficult. So we're just going to focus on here today. So whenever we hit either this point here or this point here, we can then change planes. Boom, and when we hit this point again, we can change back. So in the beginning, it's really just find these points and then you can naturally change. And so again, it's easiest just to stop. Where do I want to go? Changing planes. Hit our plane here. Where do I want to go? Back into our vertical spinning. Once that's easy enough, you can start to change planes in movement, but most important is to find the change points first. Then we can start to change planes just naturally in all of our spinning. So we can change here, we can just turn in vertical, come around, come around, come around. You can really start to just change planes as you feel. Changing from a 1 beat into a 2 beat, 2 into a big one, little one, just starting to get used to changing planes from your normal spinning into your horizontal spinning. This one's pretty self-explanatory. The most important thing is finding your change spots and having fun with it, because you can change from the front head, the back head, you can change whenever you like. You can change back and change back. It's really up to you, so really enjoy this. One of the things I like to do most is changing and really bringing the dance into it. It becomes a lot of fun. Okay, the last one we focused on for our final session was tosses. So we've talked about tosses a little bit. The easiest one is from the front of the hand, from our forward spinning. And what I suggest for tosses is just find a nice high toss that you can repeat. Yeah, and we're looking at not just doing half a spin, we want to do a full rotation, and you can catch in either hand. Catch, continue, catch, continue. And the trick is, nice and high gives you lots of time, lots of space. And you can imagine if you're spinning one, spinning two, spinning fast, on fire, what you want is lots of time and space, something that you can repeat, repeat, repeat. And once you get used to it, you can go into tossing as high as you like. But first step is get something repeatable. Okay, that was a little breakdown of our week 4 session. Thank you for coming on this journey, Freedom of Flow. From here, I will have you added to some of the flow specific, prop specific groups, so you can keep progressing. I can even share any of my videos on there so you can see stuff that I've shared. Send me any breakdowns over the next weeks, months. I love to see your progress. I will always continue to share. We're on the road of flow together. And just to keep bringing a little bit of inspiration for our single and double staff, is just to bring some ideas. So we've always got our 1 beats, we've got our 2 beats, 1 and 2, 2 and 3s. Yeah, we can bring in our 4s. Yeah, and you can bring it all the way into your 5s. You've really got to be quite clean for this. And then you can start to bring in your normal spinning and your isolations. Big arm isolation. Yep, normal spinning, isolating up high. Anti-spins together. And where it really starts to become fun is anti-spins opposite, reeling together, reeling and anti-spin. Opposite times. And where we start to really mix it in together completely. Once you start to have these bases, changing planes, same time, opposite time, it really becomes a whole world that you can play in, not think so much, and just keep developing your own styles. Thank you for coming on this journey with me. It's been great, love to share with you. Have a fantastic day. Stay in touch. Love always, Rafa.